The first thing before you jack it up, you want to slightly loosen up all your bolts. And then after you jack it up, you want to put your emergency brake on so your wheel don't move. And also make sure you got some blocks so it don't fall out from under it. Now we're going to take off the bolts. Today I'm going to show you how to replace these. I ended up breaking them off. I only had 3 good ones as it was, and I ended up breaking them off whenever I was going to change my brake pads. So I'm going to show you how to change those, put on some new ones. First we're going to spray some WD-40, this is the off brand of it, onto the boat and let it set for a few minutes. So that way it'll help lubricate the boat so it'll be easier to take off. First we're going to take this brake pad off by loosening up this and this, just like we do on the very front. It is a size 14. Next thing you do, you take this bolt and this bolt right here in the middle out. One thing they don't tell you in a lot of other videos, you got a bolt right here, and the only way I found to get to it, you got to take this piece right here off. And this right here is a size 17. So it turns out I was right. To get this caliper off, you've got to take this off. Use a hammer to tap it up. Don't want to hit it too hard and warp it. And then come in behind here and take this bolt right here out. And then this will come right off. Now that I got the caliper off, loosen these bolts up right here. You use just a basic Phillips screwdriver. What I usually do is I just pull the emergency brake to lock it up. I've got it off right now, so that way I can just get in there, pop right off. They're not actually that hard. Thank God for that. Alright, another footnote. This bolt that's way back here, right through the camera, because it's in such a tight place, it's taking a long time to get to. It's hard to get to, very hard to get to, but this bolt that's down here has to come out along with these 2 bolts I've done took out. Alright, I'm going to show you the hidden bolts. These 2 right here is hidden back here. You have to feel for them to find them. So whenever you go to loosen them, you have a total of 4 bolts. 2 you can get to real easy, and 2 you can't. After a lot of hard work getting these 4 bolts, which 2 of them is behind this. Those 2 are super next to impossible to get to. I've got these off. Just take a hammer and pop these things out. Replace them. I'll put this thing on tomorrow after work because it's dark now. And while hammering it out, you don't want to damage this. So how I'm hammering it, so I'm holding it down at the bottom and then I'm hitting it with the hammer. That way I don't damage the bottom. Okay, the next step that you do is putting these bolts back in, putting in the new ones. Put it in through the back side, like so. And then you take a hammer and tap it in. Just gently tap it in to lock it into place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this back on, and I'm going to tighten these 2 bolts to get it into place, and then I'll work on these 2. Not tight, but I'll get them started, and then I'll work on these 2. Alright, I found that it was easier to work the hard ones in. Make sure you get it started before you get the easy ones, and get the easy ones next. As you can tell, I've got it started. That way you know you got it started. Go ahead and tighten it up just a tad bit more, the top one and the bottom one, but don't make it too tight because you got to have some play to get the other side in. Also, to let you know, I used a ratchet with a short extension. It makes it easier to get to those two hard bolts. You have to do a lot of twisting and turning, but once you get it in there, this small extension helps you get it to tighten it up and loosen it up. Alright, a lot of struggling, a lot of aggravation, and I figured out exactly how the best way to do it. You put this top nut in, barely do it. Do it next, come down to this bottom one, put it in it, just barely. Then come to this side, just barely put it in, and then this, and then tighten them down. X marks the spot. Next step you want to do, I forgot to show it. You want to go ahead and put your lug nuts on and tighten it down to pull these straight like they need to be. To put this on, you have to gently, very gently tap on these to put them in place, to shift them. And then after you get this piece on, then you use the lug nuts to pull it into place. And remember, before you put this bolt in, after you get all of this put together like so, before you put this in, like I did a few minutes ago, I had to take it apart. Put your caliper back on, because the bolt is behind that. That's why that has to come off in the first place. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put this right here back on. Where I lost the bolt, I had to go to Ace and buy me a new one. I had one, but I had to buy another one. What I'm doing is I just slip it right back in, tighten it back down, real nice and tight. Right now I'm going to get this back into place. Just take a hammer and gently tap it back down into place. Now the most challenging part is getting this bolt back in. Take you like a real thick flathead screwdriver or a small wrecking bar, and all you're going to do is basically work it with it like so, and use your other hand to push it. Once you get it close, if you ain't able to push it in with your hand, just take your ratchet or a wrench and just work it in just like so. And you see it's moving slowly but surely. Once you get it out far enough for this to get on and catch, you actually could tighten it up right here and it'll pull that on through. Get it nice and tight. Alright, now putting the back brake pads on, you're going to notice one of these has this metal piece. This goes on the back. Now, I don't know how good it is, but there's a notch right here. You put this in, and then down here too. I'm not sure how my camera is, because I can't really see. Anyways, you got a notch that's like this right here on the back side, and this right here. And you put this top one in first, then kind of work it. You don't put it all the way against it, you just start it. And then you put the bottom one in, and just slides right against it. And you put the bottom one in, just like so. And push it all the way against it too. Now we'll keep a note. The curve comes up just like this is curving. It don't go curving down here. See the shape of this is the shape of this, and the shape of this is the shape of this. After you get the two bolts, this one and this one, Then you want to just get the ratchet, tighten it up nice and snug. This thing, we're going to push this in. What I do is I use an old pad, place it in like so, and I use a C-clamp to push this all the way in. And it just slides right on. You get it even with this bolt and this bolt. Just put the bolt right in. Hard to do with one hand. I grabbed the wrong bolt. Put the bolt right in. You want to just hand tighten it. And then you want to put the bottom bolt in. And after you get the two bolts, this one and this one, then you want to just get the ratchet, tighten it up nice and snug. After it's hand tightened, take your wrench, get it nice and snug. Then go pump your brakes to take the play out. It's normal to have this play because after I put the other brake pad on, then I'm just going to pump my brakes until it tightens up. And it'll tighten up against this just like it's supposed to. And that is how you change this right here and change the brake pad. And next thing, put the wheel back on, get it off the, jack it up, get off the blocks, and you'll be ready to roll after you pump your brakes. Just remember, I'm not a professional mechanic. I'm just learning as I go and sharing what I'm learning. And as you can tell, there were some mistakes I've made, and I even showed you how I corrected them. What worked with me might not work with you. All I can say is just give it a try and let God have the rest. Have a blessed day.